All right, we are back for another conversation on the Young Playwrights Guide. This gentleman over here is Tim Regan. How's it going, Tim?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm as well as I can be.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, Tim and I go back. I don't know how far exactly we go back in numbers. Doesn't really matter. It's been a nice journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, like everyone else I've been talking to here, Tim worked with me on some of the Young Playwrights programming at Writers Theater. I think we pulled you into that when you were still a student at Kane. Is
Yeah.
that right?
That's definitely, I think, my first interaction with y'all.
Yeah. Do you know what year were you? Do you know how far back that
I
goes?
came in 2004, the fall, and I graduated 2008.
Okay. All right. Wow. Geez. So
Somewhere in
we're
a long
talking
time.
15 years ago then.
Yeah.
Has it really been that long? It can't be that long.
That long.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah, I think that happened because when we got the festival up and running, it was with the theater department at Kane and Premier Stages.
Premier
So
stages. That's right.
yeah,
That.
so we were able to recruit a
Mhm.
couple of you into that, which was great because actually after working with you and a couple of the other Kane folks, I started reaching out to like Montclair and some of the other schools to bring people in. So it was always good for me to make those connections too. I mean,
And for us too. Yeah, I was gonna say it was
yeah.
awesome to meet people from different programs, and then even after college now, like the people that I still talk to and work together with. It's great.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that. I know part of your journey just because we've interacted, here and there over 16 years. But how did Tim Regan start? Like, what's the creation of Tim Regan, theater man?
Oh man, I don't know if we have that much time to go all back. Maybe we'll just start at Kane. So yeah, I
Okay,
was
sure.
to Kane University, got my BA, graduated 2008, like I said, and then went off to do. I guess I could credit to part of it was to Playwrights. I did 6 years of national tours of TYA, a
That's
lot
right.
of children's theater touring. 6 years with like 4 different theater companies. Um, which was great. I loved it all. And then yeah, just kind of I got old. I think the road was tough. I missed doing theater for children,
Hmm.
but the road was tough. So I kind of stopped doing that. Stuck to more New York theater. Uh, but I miss my TYA family. But like I was saying, there's been people from Playwrights that I've connected with doing, I don't know, little scenes with or short films, things of that nature. We just kind of kept in touch. Or you forget about somebody, but then all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah.
a project comes in, you're like, somehow I'm the perfect person for it.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. Which we actually were talking about before recording. You helped me out with a reading in the city that one time. Um,
yeah,
at the Provincetown at NYU. So yeah, and yeah, we were saying too that you've kind of been one of my go-to people, along with Tara Henderson. And actually, I was thinking about when I talked to Tara a while ago. One of the things that she had mentioned that you alluded to here too is like you build this. She used the term network, which I think you did too. And I like to think of it sometimes like an ensemble. It's almost like we have our own little repertory company, people.
yeah,
We're just not.
unofficially, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we don't really have a company. We're not in the same place, but we've got these people. And she actually said something that was interesting. I'd be curious to get your insight on was Tara said one of the things that really sparked for her was that she wasn't going to audition or work for a specific role. It was more about the room, and sort of having that idea, leads to other connections and other connections. You started saying about that too with the network. Have you,
Yeah.
how have you found that? Where have you gone beyond? Have you branched out from theater? Have you stayed solely in theater? And you started in TYA, but where have you gone from there?
No, I did. I've kind of run the gamut really
Hmm.
of whoever's hiring, whoever I want to like work with. Whatever project seems like it's gonna be fun and worth it, whether it be theater or film. Oh gosh, who was it? I'm blanking on the name right now. I'm so sorry, but there was a short film that somebody was looking for a part, and they called me. So I went and did a movie with them. I've yeah, I oh gosh, I can't believe I'm blanking on her name.
That's right. We'll finish, and it'll be later tonight, and you'll remember.
Yeah, I know.
That's when it'll happen, right?
Like,
Yeah.
it was.
I remember now.
But yeah, sorry. Now what was
That's okay. No, I wondered like where else you gone. Why you actually were telling me before we started too that you just got your equity card.
Yes. Yeah. So I worked on A Christmas Carol on Broadway, doing the pre-show engagement. We were in costume, and we handed out clementines and cookies before the show. It was basically like, have a treat, enjoy the show. It's gonna be awesome. And it was so much fun. I felt so much like myself that I haven't in a while. It was like this like really nice project, and I think it was because of the people, from the company manager to the stage manager, like everyone on crew, the cast. Just even though they had been in rehearsals and were about to go do their first preview, we didn't show up till their first preview like that day. And they went, "Hey, welcome to our weird and crazy family. Awesome, you're part of it now."
That's
so
great.
it was such a fun experience. And we basically just made people happy because we gave them free treats.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were able to join the union because of it. So I thought that was going to open a whole new set of doors, and then this COVID thing happened.
Right.
Kind of put a halt on it. I shouldn't say that. It has put a halt on it, but it's not. There still have been opportunities. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of Zoom readings. I've been able to self-tape. And send things out through this. Darren has been my reader when I've got my phone on my stand over here, and then I've got Darren reading for me here. Just again, the ensemble, the group that we met and come through to help us. So it's been great.
Have you found that were you using a lot of the technology before all of this happened, or do you find that you've kind of almost been forced into it, or you're adapting to it now, where you've got
adapting to it? I'm not a tech savvy person. But you've got to adapt. You've got to roll with it. And in fact, I'm looking into like better equipment, maybe for voiceovers, because that's like the thing now. And just like trying to figure out all the different platforms on the computer and using your phone for things. I'm just kind of leaning into it and trying not to fight it, because I'm always like, oh, I'll wait till like the next thing comes out. Like I'm never like, ooh, I've got to be, let me get the new phone or whatever. But now I'm leaning into it a bit more, because that's where we are, and there's no point in fighing it.
You're not waiting in line around the block for the new phone to drop, kind of thing.
Right.
No, I get you. I'm the same way. And actually, I'm a little tech hesitant, but I got to tell you, I'm also a little more comfortable using it to connect with. I mean, you and I, we go back, so it's not the situation here, but with were you talking about doing that pre-show work and connecting with the people? I mean, I love collaborating with people. I get a lot of energy out of that, but to engage with the public like that would terrify me. And I'll say this too, is one of the reasons I walked away from acting was because I love doing this work, teaching kids, directing kids, that kind of stuff. But also because I'm horrible at improvisation. And I just can't do that. So, I mean, that's fascinating that you're drawn to it. But I know your personality too, that seems to work pretty well.
Yeah, no, that was fun, because they didn't give us a script. They were just like, here, go.
Did you have like free range of the theater then, or were you in the lobby?
Sort of. They had given us positions. There was 4 of us, so that we had myself and somebody else was in the orchestra, somebody in the mezzanine, somebody in the balcony. We started off right as house opened. We were out there ready to go. And then, I don't know, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that, before the show started, the rest of the cast came and joined us. So they kind of flooded the orchestra, and I went upstairs to the mezzanine and hung out up there until it was time to go. But the cast kind of did mezzanine and orchestra, whereas we were all 3.
Okay, I see. It's kind of neat too.
And it was even when, I can list everyone in the show. Everyone was brilliant and amazing. But it was like themselves. We weren't really in character. And I think I had more fun with that at first. I was like, oh, it'll be cool to put on this Cockney or some sort of English accent and go around. But then when it was just us and we were just able to say hi to each other, it wasn't part of the show yet.
Yeah.
It just kind of made, I think it eased the audience. I think it helped kind of them get into it too, because they didn't have to like get their ear right to an English accent yet. It was just kind of like, great, here's a sense of the show, here's the style. Part of it also being the show is half, when everyone was in a character, it was that English accent.
Yeah.
But they explain it to, as an American audience, teachers and parents, when they're reading something to their child or their student, they're using their natural accent. And then maybe when a character has a line, in the novel,
Mm-hmm.
oh, then they'll use the accent when they're reading the line. But
Yeah.
other than that, they'll then revert back. So that was kind of their concept
Okay.
in the show, which I found really neat too.
That is neat. I also like it too that you said too it's getting the audience ready. Kind of it's almost like they're warming them up, but maybe getting them acclimated to the world of the show. It almost sounds a little like an immersive piece. You're not going so far as it's not like a Sleep No More where it's just you walk into the world
Right.
and you're there and it's that also has this creepy element to it, but that's kind of fun. And I've been trying to play with that a little bit too. We were talking a little bit before about the high school production of Into the Woods that I was directing. And one of the things that I wanted to do with them, because they had been doing a lot of traditional things with it took like a week of me continually telling the stage manager and tech, no, the curtain's going to stay open. We're not going to close the curtain. We don't need the intermission sign. They've been doing a lot of that, open and close.
Sure.
And I said, what I told the lighting designer, also a student, I said, I want you to make the auditorium look like it's the woods. So when people come in through the main doors of the auditorium, what we were able to set up was we had a couple of gobos on the side wall, so it looked like leaves, and we had a blue wash across the ceiling. And it was still kind of dark, so we were a little worried about the audience. We took a spot and created the moon up there with like crickets and other like forest noises. It was great.
Yes.
So it was this, and they were like, "Oh, like what do you? This is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. It's what we're gonna do, and it's gonna be great. People are gonna have that moment where they're gonna go, oh, this is different, and they're immediately in the story. It's I kind of like that idea, and changing things up a little bit. So it's fun to hear that was happening, in your experience with Christmas Carol too.
Yeah.
So cool. Before we go on, a couple other formal questions for this. I told you I had some fun little things here that I wanted to share. So I've got a couple of screenshots here. Of course, we have to start with the letter jacket, right? You knew this was coming. You had to know.
I did.
And I just felt like where this jacket has met its demise.
Oh, it has. It served its purpose. And then its
purpose. Yeah. So
we had good times with that jacket.
Well, a lot of good times with this jacket, and I think we tried to get you into this jacket every time we worked with you at a Young Playwrights event.
I think you did. I don't know why that started though. Not that I was against it. I guess you were like, what do you have for a high school sports guy? And then you fell in love with it.
Yeah, and with this play, remember the play? It was Disneyland. Was the name of it? You were Kara was working as she was a manager at the Disney store, and your character was applying for a job, so it was going through the interview process. And we found out that they both were hiding something, and they connected at the end. So I don't remember. I don't know if this was the first time we used it or if this was a revival of the jacket. But
this was definitely not the first time.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think so.
This was near the end, just because I just know Kara. I met her a little later.
Yeah.
I may have actually already graduated. I may have come from Kane, so I think I came back to do this one. Because I actually don't think I went to school with her.
No, I think that you had a couple.
Yeah, this was definitely a return visit.
Now, I see the X on there. I do know you're a runner, so I'm guessing this is probably you probably got this for cross country. And yeah. I always call it the wrestling jacket. Did you wrestle too in high school?
Yeah, on the back, because I there's in the B, I think I've got the music note.
Okay.
Like the choir or whatever. but yeah, I had to be like cool, you know, because
Uh-huh.
purple and gold and white scream cool.
On
So
you
I
it
had to
does.
get the wrestlers on the back.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I did track and cross country.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess I did XC, and then I did the 1600 meter and the 3200 meter race in track. So I probably put those on there too somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, well there you go. Living for posterity in this picture, in this video.
That's right.
So there we go. All right, couple more for you. The other thing we kind of had running for you, I don't know if you're aware of this, but it was a marketing thing that I did when we created a Facebook page and an online presence for the festival. I had this running a gag about Tim Regan is not impressed. Do you know about this at
I
all?
I do remember that. I wore. Yeah.
This is one. I
Yeah.
don't know what this is for. Uh, but yeah, go ahead. Well, you're going to say something though.
Well, okay, this is not the photo I thought you were going to show. It
No,
was
I've got the other one. Yeah.
okay, yeah, because I think it stemmed from that one.
Okay.
Right. I don't think I spoke during that. I think
Right.
I had the one line at the end, but it was just like this all black turtleneck. I wish I had a beret, like guy, and just nothing. Yeah, there it is. And then
Tim Regan's impressed. Yeah, that's
because yeah, at the end when everything hit the fan in this one,
yeah.
I finally smiled. I don't know what that other one's from. I
I don't. Yeah,
remember
this one here. I don't remember this one either.
I I vaguely remember doing it, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember this one either. This might have been one of the younger kids' readings too.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure.
I
Hold on a
probably
second,
didn't get
got
my
past
cupcake
script.
and I was mopey about it.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Or a bully, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think it wasn't a rehearsal for this other play, because that's Kara again over to the side here.
You're right.
And this one, yeah, I remember this one. It was like it was an absurdist piece with like some kind of family, and I remember we had, I think the men were played by women, the women were played by men, and then there was your character, and you sat off to the side in this chair sipping tea with a
Through the
scowl,
crown.
and then yeah, and they all kill each other in the end,
Yeah,
and that's
everyone
when you
died except for
smiled.
me. And that made me happy.
Yeah, right. I don't remember why, but
I think I think because it was finally quiet. I've like
is that,
it was because there was a lot. That
yeah,
I remember that play. There was people crawling on tables and there was a lot of chasing. Yeah, and I think finally once it was quiet.
yeah.
Oh, I loved working on these. I miss these.
Yeah, they're
These
a lot
kids
of
are
fun.
so creative.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I mean, I always feel like that's too simple a word, but it's impressive what they
It
come up with.
is. They're
Um,
so they're not jaded. They wrote whatever they wanted to write, and it didn't matter if it was feasible or if it made total sense. And it did make sense because it was supposed to. You know, like it not. I feel like even the most absurd of these scripts were just like they made sense because of the world that these students created.
yeah, definitely. And I didn't direct this one, so I don't. It was probably a Jim Ligon
I think it was Jim Ligon.
director. Yeah, this is something that was
Or it could
inspired.
have been oh gosh, what was his name? Ahmad? Nope, can't think of it.
Like, yeah, no, that name's not familiar. I don't know. We had a couple guest directors in every now and then too,
Yeah.
so could have been one of them. But yeah, I remember with this. This was a 17-year-old writer, I think,
Okay.
and having him in the rehearsal room, I know made helped the actors make a lot of connections
Yeah.
to it. So yeah. So anyway, I had those. I since we were talking, I knew I had to dig those up, especially the jacket. But I had forgotten about these until I went through the Facebook page. So that's cool. Well, good. So I like to end with these two questions. All right.
Okay.
One is what do you think is the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome in your creative career? Something that you've been able to tackle.
That I've been able to tackle. Recently, that I've been able to create my own work.
Mm.
I've never considered myself a writer.
Yeah.
I've always applauded the young playwrights.
Yeah.
I loved working on their pieces because I admired what they were doing, the risks that they took. And I felt like anytime I was taking a writing class in college. I was like, this is stupid. You know?
I like the two fingers too. That.
Yeah. I do know how to type, but you know,
No,
suddenly when I'm all right. But yeah, so I was telling you a little bit before, we've got a small, safe group of friends that we are working on a weekly writing exercise where one of us picks 4 to 5 random prompts of, a color, a place, an object, and then we've got to include as many of those things in our story, and they're, meant to be 4 to 5 pages. And what's kind of neat is that we thought it would be cool to get a reel together, and whatever gold we may find out of these, we can use. So that's kind of been a hurdle.
Yeah.
Not that I'm the next Jim DeVivo or
oh, please.
Mamet or whoever Shakespeare, but
oh, that's great.
We are finding some gold in there. It's going to be pretty neat, and I think we'll be able to have some stuff for our reel. So when we come out of this, that's another step, something that I've been lacking. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to push that career, keep going.
No, that's good. And one of the things I always tell, the main focus of my work with middle school, high school students now, that I'm in a more like school theater setting, is really impressing upon them the idea that they've got to not only be an advocate for themselves. I mean, some of it's advocacy, but also they've got to create their own work. We have this traditional idea of I'm an actor, I go into an audition and someone tells me if I can do the work. But coming from a new play background, coming from performing for kids, which is a totally different world with kids, but also now that we have the technology to do it more, that we're forced into a place where we have to use the technology. I mean, the world is ours to create this stuff. So, and hearing from each of you, that you're also doing that and still learning. Everyone I've talked to has said the same thing you've said, that we're continuing to work on ourselves as actors, as people, things like that. So it's one of my reasons for doing this too, is it's kind of forcing me into figuring out the technology and how am I connecting everything, and so I can also take that back to the classroom and get the kids to do that too.
Nice. Well, you're nailing it. So
hey, thank you. Well, I'm up there with Mamet, so I'm glad we have that on recording too. It's Jim DeVivo and David Mamet. That's
absolutely.
I mean, we have to get that recorded, so that's good. The last question for you: if you were to give one piece of advice to a young person who wants to be creative, whether it's theater or any kind of performing art, and thinking of young people like 8 to 18, what is one thing that you would tell them? Something maybe you've carried that's helped you.
Just play. Just have fun with it. Don't be afraid to fall flat on your face. If you are a painter, get paint, put it on something. Use your hands, use your nose, use your feet. I don't care. Just do it. If you're a writer, if you want to do it, just start writing it. It doesn't have to make sense right now. If you're not sure what story you want to tell, just put pen to paper. I guess no one does that anymore. Start typing. Just do it. If you're an actor, find your monologues, your scenes, write something and do it. Do it in front of a mirror for a while. Who cares? Just do it. Have fun with it. Don't be afraid of it, because it is scary. No matter what art you're doing, to put it out there in front of people is terrifying. But I think you just gotta do it. You gotta have fun with it and have faith in yourself that you're doing it for you and not really for anyone else. Although you want to get it out there, I think just play, just be creative, just go do it.
That's great. That's well said. We'll just end with that.
Excellent.
That's great. Thanks so much, Tim.
Hey, thank you. This is a pleasure. Good to see you.
This is great. Good to see you too.
All right.
All right. Take care.